This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. So we've got some epic signals here based on your Bitcoin dominance chart, and if you're anything like me, you like to trade Bitcoin into altcoins and altcoins into Bitcoin. So I've made a couple of videos last week just to try and put this into perspective for people, because I was saying about, you know, what could be a situation where an alt season might feel relatively well, realistic in all fairness, although it be quite small. The biggest alt seasons take place at higher rejections, and people, I don't know, like to render this chart obsolete, but it's not. And we talk about it basically mostly on its horizontal basis. So supports, resistance, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm talking about, right? And so you alternate out of a Bitcoin position into an altcoin position. So the reason I'm boring you all to death again with this is that we've been talking about how the Bitcoin dominance chart, even though it's been down at this low level for a long time, and the market cap for altcoins is still massive in comparison to what the crypto market in general used to be like prior to 2020-21. It's enormous still. You know, even just the altcoins alone dwarfs the size of the market cap of the entire market. Back in 2019 and the majority of 2020. So it is a different market, and I don't expect to see Bitcoin dominance all the way back up into the 70s probably ever again. I mean, it's a bit of a bold statement, but it doesn't look like that's a possibility. But what we do entertain quite seriously is a Bitcoin dominance chart that goes up quite high. Now, the reason I'm talking about this again is because if we look at this on a daily without other indicators on, so we're talking moving averages, we're talking Ichimoku Cloud, what we see now is actually one of the signals for a continuation up. Right, so a trend now beginning, as in if we ever saw this signal, if we saw this signal on an altcoin or Bitcoin, we would basically, we would basically have a party. It's exactly the sort of thing that you want to see for a trend to continue. One of those trends that you sit back and go, yes, just leave that to play. We've got our entry point, and we will look forward to seeing our exit point, and it'll all be given to us by the indicator itself. Now we can see here a massive big stab up here from these lows in a space of about 3 days or so. It went rallying all the way up in the face of basically altcoins going all the way down. With the market, this is direction neutral. It doesn't say that Bitcoin's going to break out or break down. It doesn't suggest any of that. It just means that where would you rather be, in a Bitcoin position or an altcoin position? You've had to take a pick between the two. And this basically down here, we talk about supports being the entry point back into Bitcoin. Big area of support here. That would have been great, because what you would have found yourself doing is getting into Bitcoin at the end of an alt season. And yes, of course, Bitcoin dropped by 50%, but we saw altcoins drop by a lot more than that. Again, from this level up to here, back into this resistance zone, we could have gone into some altcoins. I think at some point we did, and then back into Bitcoin, and so on and so on and so on. But this time round it's slightly different. So what we see now is a conversion baseline cross above the cloud, which is here. Let's just zoom in a little closer. So your blue cross your red. We're above the cloud, cheeky span above price action. This is a trend beginning at this stage now. A trend has begun, and this will tell us when to get out, when either the cheeky span touches the price action or we get the red, the blue cross the red. So it's a really good signal, and that coupled by a golden cross as well on this on these moving averages. So whether you're talking simple moving averages, which I don't class too much, but we do have one of those anyway back down here, or your exponential. So we've got everything set for continuation up on the Bitcoin dominance chart, which is good for, like I say, me, because I like to trade through Bitcoin to altcoins. And also, if we really want to get into some serious altcoin positions, we want them to be low, and we also want the dominance chart to be high. So it gives us the opportunity to alternate into altcoins at a really good opportunity. That's where you can double, triple, quadruple, 5x, 10x, maybe even more your money, aka your Bitcoin, right? So 1 Bitcoin into 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10, 12, whatever it is that's given to us through a rotation event. But before we start a rotation, well, you can argue that the rotation has already begun, from altcoins into Bitcoin around here. Perfect example as we hit support, and this historically, if we just go back in time, you know, it was a pretty much a historical low for Bitcoin dominance as well. Bang, bang, bang. All the way over here. So we've been down here for a while, effectively accumulating, brewing a move, which has now been told to us it's going to continue. So altcoins, in my opinion, are not really the place to be. To be honest with you, they're not really the place to be yet. There will always be a time and a place for altcoins, but not right now. This does look like it wants to... well, I'm not suggesting that altcoins will come down dramatically. Then no altcoin is created equal. You know, you might be watching this video in a week from now, and everything goes up together, including, you know, altcoins. But generally speaking, we're talking risk to reward. That's all trading is about. It's about limiting your risk and trying to basically make the most out of the cards that you're dealt. And at the moment, the cards that we've been dealt suggest that Bitcoin is the better place to be, even if we are expecting Bitcoin to drop by another 20 or 30%. A 20-30% drop for Bitcoin is okay. But it's not okay to be dropping 60, 70, 80, 90% for altcoins, which they could drop at this point now. But you know what would be good? Sustaining a Bitcoin position until, of course, altcoins do drop, just in case they do drop by 80 or 90% from where they are right now, as the Bitcoin dominance chart meanders up nicely and slowly to areas of significance, aka about the upper 50s, potentially up to 60, maybe 60, if we, you know, maybe. I'm not suggesting that that's where we're headed, but I would love to see a Bitcoin dominance chart around this level, because historically we have had reactions from here, we've had reactions from here as well, we've had reactions from here, and given the nature of the crypto market at the moment, where altcoins do have a sizable market cap and they've sustained it quite well, and you know, despite everything coming crashing down as it has already, and it did as well back in May last year, you know, the market cap for altcoins has remained relatively strong and robust. It's a different market than it ever was, but this chart represents something bigger, which is where would you rather be? And it's obviously a Bitcoin. So we've got bullish signals, conversion baseline crosses on the itchy cloud, plus golden crosses on simples and exponentials. And if we really want to take it a little step further, we can see that you know, we're getting a support on your 10 exponential. We are curling down a little bit, which means that we could actually see alt rallies in the very, very short term, if you base this chart on how we normally would expect to see a golden cross, which would be a breakdown and then that's it, off to the races. So we might be, and again, you know, this is all very heavily speculative, but we might end up having a Bitcoin dominance pullback before we have one final launch, which takes us up to the you know, breaking out from these zones. So I wouldn't call that an alt season. If we broke down from here, we would see some significant alt rallies, probably bouncing around the 50 or the 10, or sorry, the 50 or the 200 exponential, and then that would be it. So any next altcoin move, in my opinion, would be a sell the rip into a Bitcoin position and wait it out. Again, we're not suggesting that Bitcoin's going to rally. We're not suggesting that it's going to dump. We're just telling. I'm just suggesting that with this kind of setup, you might get lucky, and you might have one last pullback based on the momentum that's brewing or that's failing at the moment on this 10 exponential and the golden crosses. We often expect sort of pullbacks into those zones. You might get a little rally in the short term, but over the next, well, it's difficult to say how long it would take, but over the next few months, let's just say, Bitcoin is going to be a safer bet. Definitely, I would say a safer bet. And then we will alternate into altcoins at a later date at areas, maybe this, worth a little gamble. We've been waiting for that for a week or so, and I would suggest that that would be an area of interest, definitely. But with this kind of setup, I think it's likely to break through there inevitably, maybe not in the first pass, but second or third, similar to the way that the Dixies performed when it was accumulating down at these low levels, and people thought that the Dixie was dead. It's going down, man. It's going to continue to go down forever, but what it did is it spent a long time accumulating around here, and it got a very similar setup on its chart, with its moving averages crossing with conversion baselines as well on the itchy cloud, and it led to a long sustained rally. So I'm not here to tell you to sell your altcoins, far from it. I'm here to tell you that from the altcoins that I have, I will certainly be looking to limit the ones that I've got even more after the next rip, because this signal setup, whatever you want to call it, suggests that altcoins are probably not the better place to be, and Bitcoin would be the better place to be, even if Bitcoin was to continue to go down. And like I say, we've got areas targeted on the Bitcoin chart on the weekly of about 50, not 15, and the 200 simple moving average, which is around about 21, 22, and the 200 exponential at about 25. So around this zone, it could be where we ended up bottoming out, potentially bottoming out. But again, it's all. Again, we can't really suggest any of that. We do have short signals on the Itchy Cloud on the weekly, so and what we're brewing, what would be a 9th red candle in a row on the weekly here. So the pressure is certainly down. Now there's things going on outside of this chart. We've got the FOMC meeting, I think this week. That's going to have some form of effect on markets. We've also got CPI report next month as well. So there's a lot going on outside of this chart. Yeah, that could affect this. People talking about bloody Taiwan now, China, Taiwan. Oh god. So the list is endless of black swans or whatever you want to call them, situations which could incur further downside to all markets. So we've got all of that as well. But what we're really just focusing on isn't so much about price. It's about portfolio and what that should represent on a chart when it appears this way. But it's good. It is a good thing. If you see the market through my eyes, then you will see this as an opportunity. Maybe not to get rich immediately, but it's a good starting point to say, right, I have this amount of Bitcoin, and with this kind of setup, I'd rather just hold on to that Bitcoin, forget about what it's worth, because sooner or later, I'll be able to rotate into it around here, get a little bit more, maybe a 10, 20, 30, 50% maybe extra Bitcoin. Excellent. Okay, go back into my Bitcoin position. Or even better, we do it from a higher level with a bigger sustained reaction from these zones. Again, that's your alt seasons. So like I say, I've spoken about it before, but I just thought I'd bring it to your attention now that we do have an official signal on the Bitcoin dominance chart, which basically does say Bitcoin is the future for at least the next few months, even if it were to go down. So altcoins likely to get slapped in the face, so be it. But there will come a time where altcoins will be more fruitful. But in order to make the money out of altcoins, you do want them to be low. Let's face it, you do want them to be low. You're not going to get a 10x out of something that's already gone up 100x. Do you know what I mean? I would always say this on the live streams. People want me to look at things like Matic and Harmony One and ADA, and I'm like, look, let's stand back for a second. Look at what they've done. They've already done 100x, 200x, some even 300x. From where they were only a couple of years ago. Where is it that you want this to go? Why do you think it's an appropriate thing to buy? What we really want to do is to look at the charts which could potentially yield at least a 10x, in the future. Something that's already done 100 or 200 or 300x. It's likely reached its peak or close to it, and what are you looking to gain compared to what you're looking to lose? So we want and we welcome altcoins at lower prices, and while that's taking place in a downwards market, you might as well think about sustaining the waves of ups and downs and sideways in a Bitcoin position, because if there's anything that's guaranteed, Bitcoin will rise like the phoenix, whereas some altcoins may not. Doesn't mean that they can't do 10, 20, 50, 100x's in the future, but they do not look like they want to do it from right now. With this setup right now suggests that you probably, with the market looking the way it is, we will continue down, and altcoins will continue down at a much faster rate, leading us to very significant areas of interest on the dominance chart, where we start to go back into them again. Anyway, I thought I'd leave it with you there. It's not so much a warning, it's just a strategy, and it's one that I find very useful, where I've managed to make the majority of my gains over the last few years, just playing this simple rotation event. And it doesn't mean that if you're holding on to altcoins now and you refuse to sell them, you won't end up outperforming Bitcoin in the long run. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from a trader's perspective, if you're looking to trade from Bitcoin to altcoins, we are looking at a potential rally on the dominance chart, and that basically says overall, spread across the board, altcoins will likely underperform Bitcoin, whether it's in an upside or a downside. The only hope I can give you is that in the short term, sometimes when we see this usually on any chart, we do see a retest of lower zones, and we do see, I suppose, momentum leaving this chart on the daily on the MACD, but that's not much hopium. But it would suggest that if we do break down from this 10 exponential, we could see a little bit more of a rally for altcoins in the short term, as in this week. But that's not guaranteed. After that, if we do get that, and after that, then I would say we're not looking for any kind of rally for altcoins until we get to at least 47 to 48% dominance. And even then, it would just be a small rally, maybe for a few days or a week or so, and we'll base it all around this chart. But the bigger picture is we do have a great signal here for those of you who are holding on to Bitcoin positions, and I would say forget about the value of the Bitcoin. Just think about what you've got on that Bitcoin, and we'll focus on that Bitcoin and increasing that Bitcoin from either 1 to 2, or 2 to 4, 5 to 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the way it's going to go. Anyway, repeated myself a lot there, so I hope that's a worthy video and something that you can take on board. Other than that, if you want to hear me ramble further, there is a Patreon live stream tonight, links in the description below. Hope you all have a nice day and take it easy.